Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Y'all can call me Baz. We're back. It's a new week. More to talk about in the mental health space. We're here joined with a special guest. What can we call you today, sir?
Duane Notice or Take Notice.
All right. And so a little bit of background before we get into our convo today. So Duane is a professional basketball player. He played for 905, Team Canada. But you also recently started your own show called Take Notice. And I do want to talk about that a little bit before we get going. So what started the whole Take Notice journey?
Well, I've always been someone that kind of had a large, affinity for words. Like I love talking. I love being able to communicate, articulate myself.
Yeah.
And I ended up going to University of South Carolina for broadcast, journalism, things of that nature. So even though I became a professional basketball player, I still knew in the back of my head that, you know, when I'm done playing basketball, I want to get into the speaking aspect, whether it's broadcasting, whether it's being on TV or being involved with TV and production and within the sport. And recently I got hurt. I tore my Achilles like 4 months ago. So I've been recovering. And while in the midst of that, I just thought to myself, I might as well be doing something productive, especially because COVID hit and things like that. So I want to continue to prepare. And so I started my podcast, and it became like something I've been doing in my basement, have like a little setup. And I've been fortunate and blessed to be around a lot of people in high places when it comes to sports and when it comes to just celebrities or famous people. So I've always had interesting discussions with these people, and I have good relationships with a lot of people. So it was brought to me by somebody else that was like, why don't you record these conversations that you have with these people, whether it's coaches, whether it's, you know, people in the WNBA or NBA or NCAA. So I kind of like took heed to that and started doing that, and that's what like Take Notice is a product of right now.
I love that. I love that so much. I feel like we were talking about this before we were recording, but there's so many layers to that. But we were talking about being a professional athlete and just growing up being told that that's all you are, even though there's so much complexity to what you have to offer the world. And it's so good that you kind of hopped on that.
Thank you.
Before everyone else. And at the same time, I also want to say, I don't know, there's almost like this divine timing of everything. I don't know if you feel like, but you telling me the story, I'm like, I don't know if that's by accident. Like, you know, just the whole COVID thing, like getting hurt literally while it's happening. Because I know like a lot of my friends, like they can't even go overseas right now. Yeah. There's no jobs for them.
Yeah, so that's one of the things, like you said, I'm not going to say that I'm fortunate that I got hurt, but I definitely do believe that, you know, it's God's timing because essentially, like you said, right now there's not a lot of basketball being played anyways. Outside of the, you know, NBA just finished, about to start up again. And outside of that, a lot of teams overseas, or a lot of leagues overseas are, you know, suspended or, you know, being delayed because of the COVID. So for me to have this injury during this period right now, I think it's the best time for me to allow myself to recover and get right with myself, not only like physically, but also mentally.
Yeah, especially mentally. I feel like that's been a big thing for people. Like, now you got to face yourself. Yeah. You know, a lot of people have to face themselves and they're not ready for it. But at the same time, it's necessary. It's so necessary. So before we get into our topic, I actually want to do a quick icebreaker with you. Okay. I don't know if you've heard of this game. It's called We Aren't Really Strangers. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you do? Okay, you need to look it up. It's on Instagram, but it's a card deck. I recommend everyone to look it up. The Instagram is We Aren't Really Strangers, and I always get my icebreakers from there because they're just great, like, convo starters. But one of the questions I saw and I thought of you was, if you could be anywhere in the world right now, where would it be? Who would you be with? And what would you be doing?
Ooh, that's tough. Right now, I would probably be somewhere in Italy.
Ooh.
I want to go to Lake Como, and I would probably bring my mother because my mom doesn't like to travel a lot. She's afraid of planes, so that's kind of hindered her process. And I've been fortunate enough, like you said, I play with Team Canada, so I've been like
everywhere,
every country, every continent, and I'm always trying to bring back shot glasses and things to my mother. And just seeing how excited she is about me being able to experience traveling the world, like it would be cool if I could bring her to one of the places that I get to go to. So it'd be probably somewhere in Italy, Lake Como, with my mother. And what was the last part?
What would you be doing?
I'd probably be on a boat.
I feel like I'll be sipping some wine or something.
Some red wine. My mother and I are red wine fanatics, so I'd probably be on a boat with some red wine, listening to music.
No, but for real, like I definitely could see that for you. When I was thinking about it, I would be on a beach. I don't know what beach, maybe south of France. South of France, so not far from you. With who? Probably my sisters. Just honestly, like, just soaking up the sun.
With both?
Both of them, yeah. Why, I can only bring one? Oh my God, I can't pick one.
You said single.
You pick, oh no, I was gonna say you pick one, but you just picked your mom. You left your sisters out.
Yeah.
Yo, that's a trick question. I'm gonna go by myself then, because I can't. That's a trick question. I'm gonna bring my dog. That's what I'm gonna do. I'll bring the dog. I'll bring Queenie. Yeah, no, honestly, if I do, like, the first place I want to go when I travel is France. Yeah.
France is nice.
Yeah, just to see my family, and then obviously, like, to do the rest. But yeah, so when I hit you up, I was like, we got to talk. We've definitely had some very deep combos in the past. So I know you can, like you said, you're more than a ball player. Like, you have, and you're very articulate. You're very well spoken. And there's definitely a topic that I think we can talk on. And it is very much on the whole conversation of millennials and how relationships, monogamy, situationships, like how it has formed, how it's become part of the culture, what it looks like now. I think especially with an additional layer of COVID, like, we don't meet people. Like, where are we going to meet people? You know, it's very online. So that's an additional layer. And I think it's going to continue to change. I don't know what it'll look like. But I want to know kind of what you think, how COVID will impact that a little bit.
I mean, for me, it's already tough, just overall, like you just said, just when it comes to millennials and when it comes to relationships and stuff like that. But I think COVID is going to impact it. Basically, I think people won't be as accessible. Obviously, that's the most obvious one, just being able to travel or go
True.
and see things.
Yeah.
Like, I know if you're in a relationship, like, just doing other stuff, like date nights, anything, a lot of stuff, we're in lockdown again.
That's true.
So I know that's going to impact people's relationships like that. I don't know whoever had to quarantine with their significant other. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for whoever.
I think that made it or broke relationships.
Yeah, you learn a lot about your partner because I mean, obviously when you're with somebody, and I've never lived with anybody before. Well, I briefly did in university with my ex, but I never really lived with someone before I had our own house, own place, and I couldn't imagine, like, I feel like without COVID, people have their own agendas, like whether it's the male, the female has work or their own careers or friends, but now this COVID and you're stuck in the same place at the same time. I think it, causes a lot of problems sometimes.
I feel like even with my family, like, I was just so over them. But like, that's family.
Yeah.
If a man was in my face all day, every day, I actually don't know what I would do.
How would you get to space? Like,
I don't know. Like, we have one bathroom, like.
Then you start paying attention to the stuff that you didn't pay attention to.
Yeah.
Like, stuff in detail.
Yeah. And you also have to remember, like, when you're upset and that's your one person, like, you're hyper, like, everything is going to be, they're going to be your outlet, good and bad. So it's kind of getting redirected to them. So funny story, me and my roommate one night were like, yo, let's download these dating apps and let's go on them.
Yeah.
I've never done it before because to me it was never a thing. I kid you not, I posted it for maybe less than 5 minutes. Like, not 5, like, actual 5 whole minutes. I had people screenshotting it and sending it to me like, yo, is this a fake account, B? I was like, oh my God, is this not a thing? Like, am I not supposed to be on here? Like, I was so shook. So then I deleted it and I was like, yo, like, Toronto's very small.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? But then I'm thinking, like, so then how else am I supposed to meet people? Like, through the gram? Like, I don't want to meet people through the gram, but I also don't want to meet people through dating apps. But I feel like right now, that's kind of like all there is.
It's funny because as a professional athlete, I feel the same way in terms of it's like limited to meet someone else. Because especially people like in my environment, you're usually only meeting females and women in the club, off of social media. Or like at the odd chance that like after a game or something like that, they're just girls at the game and stuff. But I always wish that I could
just a coffee shop.
Yeah, like those go to like a coffee shop, meet somebody, like
run into them. You leave your laptop. Well, actually, no, I lied. I would never leave my laptop. But like, you drop your keys, they pick it up. I don't know, or like friendship based.
Yeah, something that's like organic.
Very organic.
I feel like a lot of the people, when I meet women, it's not organic just because of like the profession that I'm in. That makes sense. Not saying that every woman has like an ulterior motive or wants something, but it's not like like you said, just being at a coffee shop or being like at the mall or something like that. It's always like in a section or like at a game or something like that, you know? So it's hard for you to actually meet someone and find out what their true intentions are and meet them for who they really are, because the atmosphere we're in, nobody really is down to earth and to themselves when they're in that environment.
True. It's so true. Well, you know this, my ex was a professional athlete. And that was something I always realized, like, more than not, like, it didn't bother me that he was an athlete, but I didn't care that he was an athlete. And I used to try and explain that to him, but that's obviously like his own journey. But a lot of the women that he was friends, like even just friends with, like they were literally girls that he met through the gram, you know what I mean? And it's like, they don't know you. They don't care about you. They care about the idea of you, or the idea of themselves with you, like what that means. It's all very status-based, hierarchy-based. And then same thing, like that's why certain people, like there's like dating apps for people who are like celebrities, because they can't just be amongst like basic people, basic folks, I guess, you know? So it's just like different areas. You can only occupy certain areas because of the status you hold, right? So that's already limiting your pool of who you can be with. But anyways, kind of, that was sidetracked. What was your idea or just your understanding of relationships, love growing up?
Ooh, growing up, I mean, honestly speaking, my parents broke up before I was born. So I never really got to see that immediate, like, household, like, love, like, man and woman, like, just whatever. My mom was kind of, and then I had my stepdad, you know, when I was, like, a toddler, growing up. And just seeing how they interacted. But to be honest, I really got my visualization of like what love was and what relationships were through like movies and through media, just that medium right there, because I'm Jamaican and I'm first generation Canadian, but everyone else in my family is Jamaican. And like like a lot of my uncles and aunts, like they've been married, but there's like kids here, kids there, like just different, you know what I'm saying?
Fruitful.
Different. Yeah, exactly. So I never really had that I guess that ideal couple to kind of like guide me and look at and be like, wow, these two people, this is how I want my love life to look like, or like assimilate what they're doing, you know? 'Cause my mom ended up getting divorced from my stepdad. So it was like I never really had that. And then my dad was kind of like a bachelor. He just like settled down, got married. But I never like, during those years, I think that was very important for, you know, the youth to kind of grow into like their teenage years. I never really had that guidance. I had to like really look at the medium of TV shows and movies. Yeah,
no, and that's such a common like conversation I have with my friends too. Like our idea of, now mind you, my parents are together doesn't necessarily mean that relationship's healthy. So my idea of love was not necessarily healthy.
Yeah,
it meant you end up with somebody, but what does that look like? And that's a whole other conversation. But I had the upbringing of having two parents, so I'm lucky for that. But what love looked like was definitely a power dynamic, right? The man holds all the power, the woman is submissive, and then even culturally, right? Being African, like it's very much like a patriarchal society, so that played a role in it. And then when I looked at like my other family members, like on my French side, it's very like French people are just so, I don't know, they're just so like, they just love, but they don't care for like monogamy either. You know what I mean? Like they're very free spirited. Like we're just gonna like, we'll just have like a cute little fling here and a fling here and love. Like that's them. But then on my dad's side of the family, Moroccan people, like is very much like, sometimes it's not even love-based marriages. It's very much like a political thing. So, I mean, economic thing. So my grandmother, it was like an arranged marriage. She was 13 when she married my grandfather, which is literally a child.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then my grandfather, his dad had 2 wives. So like there's so much that has like gone generationally that I have to like be aware of. Because sometimes I'd be sitting here like, damn, like relationships and love don't make sense. And then I look back on my past and I'm like, damn, like It doesn't make sense looking back either. It's all over the place, but it has evolved. So it's like, now what do I want my kids to, like, I want to take the best aspects of all those things and heal from it, learn from it, and then apply it so that my kids can have a healthy representation of what they have in their household. But yeah, it's definitely far from that.
I think that's good. Especially like what you said about, I forgot what side of the family you just said, but I resonate with that because I know I could see from certain family members what I don't want to do either. You know, it's similar to like how, you know, you're like, you have a younger sister.
Yeah.
It's similar to like how I am to my younger siblings. Like, they watch how I move, whether it's my brother and how I move my career and what I do wrong and what I shouldn't do. He just makes sure he steers away from that. I think it's similar to that. So I witnessed my mom like stay with somebody because she was like trying to sacrifice her happiness for like my brother and myself, you know? And so I know in the future, like, I don't want to like have to compromise, like, and tolerate disrespect so that my kids or the family unit, like, I just have to have that communication factor. If this is not working and not making me happy, then I'm not going to like force it. Type of thing. So I learned that as well. And then it's funny what you said about the like they're being fruitful or not being monogamous. Cause like I always had this thought, especially recently, I was like, are humans meant to be monogamous?
That's a conversation that we need to have.
Scientifically or physically, I don't know. And if you look at it spiritually, like, I'm not the biggest, you know, religious person in the world. I'm big on spirit and like energy. And my family like is certainly religious, but if you just look at the biblical aspect of like King Solomon, how he was able to have 1,000 wives, like he was able to, not saying that it made him happy because it didn't, because he still asked God like for more stuff. But the fact that he was capable of doing it really makes me think, like, if he was capable of doing it, does that mean that man is capable of having multiple people that they could, you know, be with? So
let's keep going. Let's dig into that. So that's actually something I want to talk about, is the whole concept, the whole conversation of monogamy. So like you said, historically, and I think only very recently has monogamy and relationships been a thing, and love is the core of what relationships is supposed to be right now. But prior to that, like maybe 2-3 generations ago, it was all about like economic status, money, land, all that, right? And that had to do with the status of women, culture, all these things. So like you said, in even religious texts, even in the Quran, it says a man can have more than one wife, but it also says if he can treat all of them equally. So the loophole in that, and the one that's often glazed, is like, can a man truly treat all his wives equally? No man can treat anyone equally, right? So technically no, but the whole thing is that was not based off of love, right? It was based off of, can you provide for all these women equally financially? So I don't know. It definitely is a conversation worth having. And I remember asking my aunt when I was a kid, I was like, well, why can't I have multiple husbands? Like, I remember just being that girl. And she's literally like told me, she's like, because you wouldn't know who the father is.
Wow.
And I was just like, damn. So like, does it mean that men are supposed to be non-monogamous and women are supposed to be monogamous? Like, for evolutionary reasons? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the answer is.
I don't know either. I just know that maybe psychology-wise, it's like, for me, in my experience, when it comes to women, and I've like seen a lot of women, it's like when women have like played a field, so to say, or like have multiple people on their roster, it's difficult because women like connect with men differently. Like they have like a stimulus connection when it's mentally like, so
we literally release a hormone that creates us to bond with them.
Wow. So that's literally why like, I always see stories of like when women are cheating, it's like affairs. Like it's like a whole second boyfriend, like a whole second man. Whereas like when it's a man and you confront them about cheating or whatever, being unfaithful, it's usually with like a woman.
Like, I just got my dick sucked.
Like, they don't even know who that girl name is. They don't even like remember it was a one night stand. They don't remember certain situation aspects about like what happened. So I think that's like plays into the different mindsets when it comes to like that kind of stuff. But I think, I don't know.
I'm looking up the hormone.
I'm trying to look at like love, like, because there's different types of love in the world. You know what I mean? Like there's different types of love in the world. So
that's true.
Like you know, you love your sister differently than the way you love your mother. You love your mother differently than the way you love your your significant other. You'll love them differently than you'll love your kid. Like, to me, it's different aspects of love. So, like, and then I look at life and I'm like, life is short. Like, it's extremely short. But at the same time, it's also like
it's the longest thing you experience.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
So just imagine, you know, I don't know when you start your love life or what the common age is, but like, imagine you start your love life 16, 17, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, imagine being with the same person from like 18 or till 80 something, 90 something.
That's
like,
wild.
Everyone, like, think about that. Like, just meeting one person and trying to be with that same person for how many decades? Like, to me, I don't know if that makes, like, if that's a real thing or if that makes sense, because you're gonna obviously meet somebody else that caters to different aspects. That's why I thought it was interesting what you said about like, back in the day, like, when they married, it was like for economics or for like whatever. Because I'm thinking, like, you can get this from as a man, you can get this from a woman. She could be an amazing, you know, housewife. And this woman could be like amazing maternally, and this woman could be a go-getter, like business phenomenon. She's like Fortune 500, like she's making a whole bunch of money. So like, I think the best thing, like, that's the whole beauty of life, is like figuring out like who you want to be with and who encompasses all the, I guess, whatever you value, all those things that you value, who encompasses the most. Because you're not going to find anybody that's going to give you every single, like, check off every single thing.
And you aren't going to give.
And you aren't going to give, you know what I'm saying? You're going to be lacking in areas for a woman, like, just based on what they want, what they need from you. So like, it's a very interesting dynamic to have. Like, I don't fault nobody for like getting divorced. I don't fault anybody who got married early and then it doesn't work out. Because I'm like, yo, and you, like, I can't imagine. I know a couple people, like, I know like 1 or 2 people who have been married for like 50 years like, and stuff like that. And I ask them how it is and stuff. But those, like you said, like, evolution, those times are different because these are older people. I know that have been married for 50 years or whatever. And I'm like, really, y'all never cheated? Like, you never, like, I know somebody that's only been with like she's been with that same man for like,
oh my gosh,
her whole life. Like, and I'm just like, and you never like curious, like you never. I think that as people, like, as a part of evolution, is that we're supposed to experience different things. I think that every time you deal with somebody, whether if I deal with a female here or there, it's an experience. Like, it's a lesson. Like, I'm learning something from whatever, whether it's good or bad, I'm learning from it. And I think that also, like, it contributes to like kind of curing our curiosity. I think curiosity is another reason why a lot of people, like, I don't want to say cheat, but like,
it's a big part of it, though.
Like whereas someone who's been like, who's experienced different relationships, different types of people, they won't have like, you won't be with a man who's like, oh, I wonder what it's like to be with like an Asian girl, because like he probably would have got that out of his system.
I always say I want my man to have had a whole phase. Like, please have your whole phase.
Having a whole phase is extremely important. Like, I think it's a necessity. Like, I literally ask any girl that I'm talking to before I did them if they had the whole experience, because like, I think it's a necessity, because especially in my lifestyle, I'm not trying to say like I'm this big whatever, but like when I'm able to, if I'm dealing with a girl and I go somewhere and there's like Drake or like, you know, celebrities in the building, like, I don't want them to be acting like they've never seen that, like
a freaking groupie.
That. So you need to have had your whole face so you can get that out your system, so you can, like, be phased about people who are, you know, financially or whatever, have more clout than I do if I like have friends like that.
Yeah, and this to add on that, like, also looking, like, realizing that women who are turned on by that type of stuff might not even be the type of woman you want around, right? Because not all women are going to act like that, right? And then there was something else you said about curiosity. I agree. I think you're always going to be curious, though. Like, you could literally be curious till the day you die. So I think it's, when do you say, okay, like, I will always be curious, but I know what I want. And then another layer of that is, as a person, you are constantly reinventing yourself. At least you should be, you know, like, you should not be the same person. So if you are growing with someone, if anything, you are meeting a new version of them, a new person every couple of years. So if that person is willing to do that work and grow, then I think that's also why relationships can work. Then if it becomes stagnant and that person just stays the same, then I understand, like, people kind of,
nobody wants anybody complacent. So like, as a question for females, like, what, like, would you guys be okay if the man was openly communicating to you about his curiosity, but he doesn't act on it, doesn't entertain it, doesn't act on it? Would you feel disrespected, or would you feel like, or you just respected it? It's like,
I wouldn't feel disrespected. I would, but then I would be, no, like, it doesn't sound, I don't want to generalize it, but knowing men and him saying he's curious, I would be worried, like, okay, but then what are we going to do about that? You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, 100%, I would appreciate them voicing it instead of feeling that they can't share that.
Yeah.
But it's like, I can't give you that solution. You know what I mean? Like, this is something that, like, I'm happy you share with me, but it's like, I can't do nothing about that. So then it really comes down to like, all right, well, not a choice, but like, are you content with, you know, just acknowledging their curiosity and moving on? Or do you feel like you need to chase that curiosity kind of thing?
I think if women were able to be like receptive to men being able to explain that, like, they're curious and communicate it, that it would prevent men from like going behind their back to pursue what they're curious about, if that makes sense. And I don't think it would like necessarily prevent them every time.
Yeah.
I just know some guys that they're able to like, it's like a strip club, you know, like you tell your girl like, I'm going to a strip club, and if you have a girl who's like, why are you going to the strip club? Like, what the hell? Like, why you
I'll be like, yo, let's go.
Yeah, versus a girl who is like, okay, like, all right, let's go then. Or like, have fun. Or like, let's go. And then you go, and you're able to be like, damn, like, her ass fat. Like, the girl not be tripping. Like, the girl not being like, okay, so then go be with her. Like, where I think guys who like feel like there's a mental block and they're not allowed to say those kind of things and be like, damn, she tough. Like, she bad. She pretty. Because they're afraid their girl will snap on them because maybe their girl's like that. Then that's in the back of their head when they get with their guys and they're like, yo, you really had a chance with that girl. Like, that girl with the fat ass. Then you're like, okay, you know, I'm gonna go see what it's about.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? They weren't able to get it out to their girl, get out to their system.
I see what you're saying.
But with that said, there's a level of like, like, you can't just be like, yo, that girl is the baddest girl ever. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I would literally.
Like, I'm sure in the back of a female's head, it makes them feel some type of way.
Of course.
As it
that's
would
like
for a guy
me walking
as well.
into a room or like, yo, we go work out together at the gym and I'd be like, holy, yo, he's fine as fuck. And you're standing beside me, you'd be like, what? Oh, way back. What did you say? So there's definitely a level of respect. Like, yo, you're gonna walk in rooms, you're always gonna think people are attractive. Like, I think that's just normal. That's a human reaction, experience. I think it's more about understanding. I think temptation's a big thing.
Yeah.
And someone who cannot, like, but you will constantly be tempted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with everything, not just like not sexually, it'll be mentally, whether it's like you don't want to get up and go to the gym in the morning, you know, that's temptation of staying in bed, or you want to, you know, you don't want to eat right, or all these things, or you're tempted to spend money on something. So why can we so easily discuss like, or not make excuses for, yo, I can train, I can budget, but you can't stay loyal to your girl? Like, you know, like that conversation needs to be had, because I really think men don't give themselves enough credit, and we don't give men enough credit in the sense that we almost make excuses like, yeah, men are dog, they're gonna cheat. It's like, nah, they're not. Like, they're full functioning human beings. They can think, they have rationality. It's just we let them get away with it.
I think both sides do too much like premeditating who the other person is, you know? Like, I think from the men's side, we do too much of like, nah, she a thought, like, that's a hoe, like, she been around, she's whatever, a gold digger, like, she's just clout chasing. And I think a lot of women like approach every man, especially if you're an athlete, I'm just speaking from my opinion, it's like, I know you're a dog. Like, before even knowing who I am, you know, it's like, I already know you're a dog. I know you can get any girl you want. I know, and it's like, dang, why do I have to be a prisoner of my stereotype, like, or my profession? Like, yeah, I'm a basketball player, and yeah, like, whatever, not to generalize it, but like, I'm an athlete. But I didn't come out the womb like that. I didn't like...
Yeah, that's not who you are.
That's not who I am. It doesn't define me. When I'm 40 years old, I'm not going to be playing basketball. I don't know any other 40-year-old, like, outside of Vince Carter, who's like, you know what I'm saying, that was playing ball until they was 40. Like, I still have another, like, 50 years of life to live, potentially, you know? So, like, you can't define me based off of just basketball. So you can't just be like, he's a dog, like, automatically. Yeah. Same way I can't just look at, like, a beautiful girl and be like, oh, I know you're a hoe. Yeah. You have a certain amount of followers or a certain amount of guys under your page. I think we both, like, men and women, have to, like, stop doing that and have to, like, just feel the person out first.
Judge them for that. Yeah. I think, so 2 things about that. From a woman's perspective, why we do that in terms of men, depending on the profession or what they're doing, is not necessarily the person, but what that culture or that profession, breeds, you know? So it breeds this toxic masculinity. It breeds this concept of, you know, going through women like quickly. Women are seen as replaceable, you know, commodities. It's not, and it's true. Like, I don't really see a lot of athletes like want to necessarily be husbands or be faithful. Like, to them, it's like, yo, who can bag the baddest girl, and then on to the next one, because there will always be someone better, like, you know, younger, fitter, badder, all these things. And it's like, I don't think that's what's praised, and it's very much like from a young age. So now you're repeating these patterns. I forget the other thing I was gonna say, but yeah. So
that's like to me, as an immature person though, like, you know what I'm saying, you have to make that distinction between like like whatever athlete in that atmosphere from just a person who's not mature. If you're coming into the profession, or if that's how you are, if you're thinking like, I'm gonna run through these girls, or I can have this girl, I can have that girl in different cities, different states, whatever, different countries, then that's someone that hasn't gone through their whole phase, and that's someone who doesn't get it yet.
Yeah.
But once you're at the age, like typically when you're in your career and you understand, like, you know, the amount of money you make and like what you want and what you need, like you talked about before, your wants and your needs. And then you're able to realize and decipher that like going through a whole bunch of women is not it. Having women here and there is not it. When you have someone that's stable and gets you through anything, that's someone that you want to kind of spend the rest of your life with. So I think women have to like try and make that distinction between those people. Like if you're dealing with someone in a profession of athleticism or whatever, and they're chasing and bragging about this and the third, then that, like, you talking to an immature guy.
Oh, for
probably
sure.
Hasn't been there for a while. Probably new to him. Like, he just started getting girls, like kind of like that. Because most of the guys in my profession who know, like, they're tired of it. It's like, yo, we've been doing this for years. Like, you gotta think about it. Every year we travel to the same city, same states, the same 30 teams in the NBA. And I played in the NBA G League, so it was whatever 20-something teams, but it's the same teams, you know. So I'm going I played for 2 years in the NBA G League, so it's like I'm going to the same cities. So I know in New York, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I have some girls in New York, I know which girls like I'm going to. But after a while, it's like, hey, man, I'm not trying to do this. Like, that's tiring. Like, I got to keep up with this, that, and the third. Like, I got to, like, a whole bunch of unsaved numbers, like, stuff like that. It's wild.
And that's a lot of work, too. And I don't know if it's fulfilling. You know what I mean?
It's not.
It could be draining. And then, so to bring it back to kind of like the psychology of it, so I took a course in psychology of relationships. I also worked in a research lab on relationships. So I just find it fascinating. And the most successful relationships, so there's different types of love. You said that perfectly. There's different types of love. So there's like, there's lustful love, which is the one we actually crave the most. And that's because it releases a hormone that is very much like cocaine addiction. You know what I mean? Like, it's like addicting, you know, those high highs, those low lows. And that's why people get in those toxic relationships, because they're chasing that. You know, like, it's like that toxic cycle. The one that we should actually be thriving towards is companionship love, which is more of like a subtle, calm love. It doesn't necessarily have those highs. Like, you can have forms of lust in it, but the underlying form of love is calm, you know, that calmness people speak of, or it's almost like a friendship, you know. And unfortunately, because it's not something we discuss enough, or we're like, when we're in it, we're like, this feels weird, like, I don't know if you're my homie, or if like if this is too like boring. Like, a lot of people mistaken it as like boring or uneventful or stagnant, but really and truly it's healthy. But because we're so used to unhealthy patterns or toxic relationships, we're thinking something's wrong with it. So then that's often when we step out, or we start like starting arguments and all these things. But kind of the reason I bring it up is because I think when you get to a certain age, you realize, why do I want a partner?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why? The why. Is it because I want them to fulfill me and to give me these rushes? Or is it because I want a companion to be there for me when, like, to go through life? Do I want a friend? Like, what do I want, and what do I want it to look like? Do I want someone who can just help me create this empire, like, financially? Do I want someone who can give me kids? You know, and I think everyone's answer is a little different. But because of society, we're so quick to follow this blueprint that we're told, first of all, on who we should be, let alone who we should be with. So it just gets very confusing, and then people just start being messy and doing the most outside of or behind the scenes, I should say. So my question is, if you could define like your ideal or in this space, because we're about in the same age group, and a lot of guys that I've talked to and that are in the same age group will always be like, I can't be in a relationship because I just don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. And then to me, like, I think that's confusing. The only reason I say it's confusing is because I've always known who I was.
Yeah.
But I took that as for granted. I think I've just always known who I was. But I think men mature a little bit later when it comes to that.
I agree.
And having those experiences, that helps. So I could definitely see why that is. But then I look at media, and a lot of grown men are still doing the same stupidness. So why do you think that's the case?
I think like what you said, like when a guy says they don't know who they are, I think they mean it. Like
100%.
I really believe that if you don't go through like some sort of adversity or some sort of like challenge or something, it's hard for you to kind of define what your character is. So as a man, if you've been, going through high school, university, college, whatever, and you haven't had nothing, no wild experience with a female or nothing bad happen or whatever, then it's very hard for you to understand what you want and don't want. And that's when you find out those guys who are like trying to take down every girl in every city. When you realize that this ain't for me, this is not what I want, like this doesn't bring me happiness, this is not fulfilling me. For me, I know how I made the change was like was after certain females that I would like mess with, like boom, after we're done like having sex or whatever, I was just like, damn, I want to be like alone. Like
you just don't want to be around them.
I don't want to be around you. Like nothing you saying right now is like, and you know me, like we've talked before, like we have like deep conversations. Like I like to be stimulated mentally. So we're just like one word. She's just like one wordy. I started picking up on things like that. So then that's when I'm just
that's
like,
good.
Man, I'm wasting time by like, cool. This 45 minutes was great. Like we had a great time. But it's like after, it's like now I'm just like, I just wasted, like to me, I was just like, okay, cool, the sex was like recreational, it was fun, but it wasn't like, it didn't do anything for me in my life. It didn't help me become a better person. So I think like once I started able to like make those changes within myself, like see like, all right, she's kind of annoying me now. We're just having a simple conversation. I wasn't able to tolerate little stuff, like, so.
No, and you know what, if you are spiritual, and this is my own, if you are in the spiritual realm, you understand that any type of exchange of that sort is very much like going to impact you, like whether how you feel after, and also takes like there's an energetic exchange. So are you really trying to carry that energy with you? Empty
soul ties. You don't want to keep carrying all that baggage.
Soul ties is real. Like you don't want to carry all these, and that's why a lot of dudes are confused. Yeah, and I always say that's because you have so many different energies in you. So how are you going to understand your own frequency? You got to kind of you got to shed all those first before you get to your root. And it's like, that's a lot of work, but you're not willing to even take time to yourself.
You gotta know what you like and don't like. You just gotta go through life and experience like what you like and don't like. And then I think from there, you'll be less confused. But it's hard in our generation when you have the media telling you one thing, you got your friends doing this, you got your family doing this, like everybody's pulling you from different directions. I know that's how I was growing up. Like I would have a couple boys that were like in the NBA and they're living this lifestyle. I'm like, this is like, I want to do this. Yeah. But then I would like have like see one of my Italian friends and see their family and just like see how loving it is to like be in a marriage for so long, and they have like family dinners once a week, and it's just like, man, this is way cooler than like traveling and going different places and like more fulfilling. You don't even know their names and stuff, and then but then you have friends and people who are around you who are like, yo, you're like, you have the opportunity to be in the same room as so and so, like why are you not? And then that kind of like fuels guys' egos, like what we talked about earlier. Like, and it confuses them even more. So even though they thought they were secure within themselves and with what they wanted, they have their boys or people who are like, you should take this down. Like, she's tough. Like,
that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that peer pressure is real. Like, so you have to make sure that you're secure so that nothing could really affect your mental and your and like your security. With what you want and don't want. But yeah, but I honestly think as a man, like if a guy's telling someone they're confused, like, and they're not confused, they're using it as an excuse, I think that's a problem. But if someone's like communicating to a woman like, yo, I don't know who I am yet. Like, I don't even know who I am. I think it's tough. Like for me, like before I got hurt, like I thought I was somebody else. And it wasn't until I got hurt that like I I realized more. I unlocked different stuff about myself that I didn't know because of COVID and because of my injury. I'm able to really like self-reflect and understand what I like and don't like. Even though before I thought I already knew that. Yeah. It's like I'm still growing, but like you said, we're still evolving.
You're always evolving, yeah.
You don't technically always know who you are.
And that's another thing. Like, you don't have to have it figured. I think knowing who you are and having it figured out is two different things. Yeah. You could know who you are, but then know that that's your foundation, and then be on that journey of figuring it out, you know? And I think sometimes that gets, I guess, confused, which is fine. But I also, one thing that I want to say, most men will tell you at the beginning who they truly are.
Yeah, through their actions or through their...
Both.
Through their work. Oh, wow.
I think, from my experience. Because I always look back and be like, damn, Baz, like, he really did tell you. Like, I don't know why you didn't listen.
Yo, I think, like, you talking about spiritual side, I think red flags are real, too. Like, I know for me, like, if a girl is, like, doing something and I'm like, I've been here before, I've seen this movie before, like... I won't say I'm quick to cut that person off, but I definitely will confront whatever that is, like communication. It could be something so small too. It could be like from a female, like, we talking, and then all of a sudden she's like, we're on a trip. She's doing, you know how females just post like the plate and like they food and then like them in the bathing suit, but they don't, like they could show like the scenery, but like they don't show nothing else. Like it cuts out before there's any other people there. Yeah. It'd be looking like they're eating by themselves, like all this
You're
stuff.
like, who are you on this
I'm
trip
used
with?
to like women who get flown out and like by celebrities and do that kind of stuff. So before I used to just think like, oh cool, she with her girls, like,
oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying, she in Miami right now, like she need to be done for herself. Yeah. But now if I'm talking to a girl and she was to do that, I'd be like, hey, like I would talk to her like, what's going on? Like, this random trip to Miami, like, and you didn't show none of your friends, you show you by yourself. Like, I think red flags are real. I think a lot of people like they tolerate red flags too much. They see something they don't like, and it may affect them, and then they get passive aggressive about it, or they don't bring it up. And I think that kind of is detrimental to like relationships or situations or whatever. Because like you said, like if you were like thinking to yourself, damn, Bass, he showed me who he really was before, and you didn't like confront him on it, and now you're there. It's like, how do you feel?
Oh, that's like, the worst place to be.
I feel like, man, I wasted my time. Like I knew something was up. I didn't trust my gut. Like, yeah,
always trust your gut. No, that's the biggest lesson that I've learned is always trust your gut, always trust your intuition. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because of the whole conversation of why men call women crazy. And a lot of the time is because our intuition is going off. A lot of time is because our intuition is going off and then we're being gaslighted, you know? So the whole conversation of we bring up something because a red flag or something comes up, and it could be men too, but just because men call us freaking crazy, you know?
Men call women crazy a lot. I think that like the word crazy for me, I kind of related to like the word goat. Like, you know how in our culture, everybody's calling everybody a goat, like whatever, respectively when it comes to music, when it comes to like, sports, like we're just throwing that word around like so much to the point where it's
watered down.
It's watered down. It's losing its value. I think that's how men use the word crazy. Okay. It's like, I've seen a lot of guys call women crazy, and I'm like, that's not crazy. That's like regular stuff. Like,
yo, the amount of times,
like, it is what it is, you know, or like she just like worried about you because you haven't texted her back. And it's been this amount of time, like, you know, or you
because I've seen and heard crazy.
Yeah, like you like that to me, because I, like you said, like I've seen some crazy. I
know you have.
I've seen girls do some crazy stuff. I know. Like, I've seen some crazy
girls
stuff.
in that end are crazy.
I've seen girls like pop up, like throw bricks at car. I remember one time I was in university and I had this girl that like. She so I was in South Carolina. I went to the University of South Carolina, so I didn't have a car down there. Some of my teammates did. So sometimes I used their car to like get food or whatever, or, like go out to the movies or whatever. I remember one time this girl like got super upset about something. I don't know what it was, but because like sometimes when I post pictures, like girls under the comments be saying like certain stuff. Yeah. And it's crazy because sometimes I don't even know those girls, like, or it could be girls that I never did nothing with, but they're still leaving heart eye emojis or like putting comments that are kind of insinuating that like
something. Yeah. Girls are set up like that though. But yeah.
So whoever I'm talking to at the time, that's why like I think for me to talk to somebody, they have to be like really secure, because there's going to be a lot of things that are going to challenge the relationship, and like breaking up a happy household is. But like,
you can also tell from a woman, like at least from my experience, and being with a professional athlete, like I see girls and I'd be like, girl, thirsty. I know you've never talked to him in your life. Thirsty. I know you never, he doesn't even know you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like those ones. But then you also know, wait, I'm pretty sure I saw you texting him.
Yeah,
Wait. Yeah, so like that's when the girl, like, we're good at that. We're good at putting two and two together.
But yo, so this girl, she pulled up to like my dorm, the condo dorm. And so the car I took her out in, I guess she thought it was my car, it was my teammates. And she put a brick through the driver's side window.
Oh my God.
And then she wrote on his car with like lipstick or something like that. Like she wrote something like, it was like
because of Instagram.
It was like F you Duane, like all this, like all over his like car doors. Like it was like big letter. It was like paint or like something like that. I remember we went out like the next day. We went out to his car and he was like, "What the fuck
I know
is
he
this?"
was pissed.
I'm like, bro, I don't even know who. Like I didn't know who it was to this day. I still don't know who did that. Like I don't know who did that. I was single at the time, so I was talking to different girls, but I don't know who did that.
Oh shit.
And that, like to me, that's crazy.
Intense.
Like that's crazy.
I was about to say that's crazy because it is
like,
crazy.
Popping up and stuff like that. Actually, I don't know if popping up's crazy, but like just stuff like that to me is just like crazy. Like I would never pop up, but
yeah.
I know a lot of girls who do it, so I don't want to say it's crazy.
The only time I would do it is if like I had your child. Yeah. Like there's different levels of crazy and different reasons I should be crazy. Like if I'm your girl, okay, that's one thing, but I'm not gonna go crazy off of a certain thing because I know my place. Now, if I'm the mother of your children, that's the next level. And then if I'm your wife, that's the next level because there's different levels of respect, right?
Yeah. And then I feel like you're entitled to do certain, like the more levels you're entitled to. Like
a little bit more.
You're married to somebody, then like that's not popping up. That's just like
it's just like, yo,
like, yeah, like
your family, like what?
Yeah.
But I also think, and this is something that I think everyone should practice, is having boundaries for yourself, right? Like we're so quick to want people to have boundaries for us, but for me, like I know my triggers, but I also don't want to bring them or my insecurities onto someone else, right? Yeah. But because of that, I'm very aware of what triggers me, and I often communicate that with my partner. But I created boundaries or ways to check myself. So like phones, to an extent, can be triggering for me, right? Because that's a lot of time where I found things or things came up, and it wasn't because I was necessarily looking for it. It's just I'd literally be sitting there and then something will pop up. So for me, it's like I'm not gonna go through no man's phone, and it's not because I want him to do whatever and I just don't want to see it. It's because that's his phone.
That's my thing. I never understood that concept of going through someone's phone because it's like why, like if you don't trust somebody, why are you with them? If you feel like you have to sneak around them and do all this extra stuff, then why are you with them? You know. Now that's why, like for me, for me to have a successful relationship, we have to like be able to have good communication. Because if you feel a certain type of way and you can come to me and be like, yo, like, can I see it? Like, at least ask me something. But I don't like girls who like, you go in the shower or something. They like, you try your phone.
Why does every man bring his phone like
because
to go to the bathroom?
They probably traumatized off of that.
I'm like, yo.
They probably traumatized because of that. And then the thing about the phone too, it's not even like, sometimes it doesn't even have to be with you. Like me and you could be in a relationship and I have a group chat with mad people. So like, they could be incriminating stuff on some of my boys, you know what I mean? Like, if they're in relationships and they talking about... I see. Like, something they just did last night with another girl, like, all that stuff, like, contributes to, like, I'm saying for me.
You're protecting other people's secrets, too. But I also think, like, whatever happens in the dark comes to light. Like, I truly believe that. And I also think, like, you shouldn't put so much of a focus on hiding something. Like to me it's like, oh, yo, pass me your phone, we're gonna order food. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be this like possession thing.
If a guy, like you're in the car, boom, you listen to music, you like that song and or you want to play a different song and he like willingly gave you the phone, would you still go through it or would you be like, oh,
hell no.
Like, damn, he gave me his phone. It's like in your head,
my head I'd be like, oh wow, if anything, like, I'm like, I'm never gonna even trip because you just so easily gave it to me. And that's the thing I think a lot of dudes don't realize. It's like if you make us feel comfortable and that you're not hiding anything, chances are we're not gonna trip. The second you act mad shady, like and like it's almost like backwards, but like if you just act right, like because we feel things, like women are very intuitive, right? So the second I feel like you're always like your phone's always facing down, you know, you're always on silent, yet you always texting me, so I know you're always on your phone. Yeah. So to me, it's like, I don't know. It's just like, we're very observant people, right? I think most women are very observant, very intuitive. We feel things. So men think they can, not else. I just hate how.
I'm definitely smarter, but
yeah. I saw this quote, and I'm pretty sure I screenshot it, but it was like, you can tell how smart a man is by how stupid he thinks you are. And I was like, ooh,
like that.
I love that.
Like that.
So a lot of times men think that, and women, actually no, it's a completely different conversation, but men think they can outsmart a woman. And you know what? Sometimes they get real creative, but it's like, end of the day, a woman is going to feel things. It's not even about a logical thing. It's just,
I'm going to tell you the scariest thing I think about for women. It's like, women could like peep something and then not say anything. Like, I think that's the most powerful thing you guys do, like, as women. It's like, you could peep something's wrong or, like, catch them in something and you just, like, let it chill. And then, like, the next time something comes up, it's like you have ammo of, like, you have, like, receipts. Like, those are, to me, women, like, who do that are, like, sick. Like,
that's scary, but, yeah, you got to be strategic. Like, see
something and they're, like, just impulsively blow up. It could backfire in your face because it could really be nothing, you know what I mean? Like,
you got to have your receipts
that's why I think
in check.
In general, men and women, I think we're just too impulsive, you know? Just, like, as a society.
You shouldn't be so reactionary.
We're all sensitive. We're all reactionary. We're all like too impulsive, too emotional. Like all that. I have a question though.
Yeah, ask me.
Do you think it's possible for men and women to be in platonic friendship?
Oh, I love this question. Okay.
I have this argument all the time.
I have this argument all the time, and my stance on it changes a lot.
Oh wow.
But I'm gonna say yes, but it is very, very, very uncommon. And the reason I say that is because I do have, I have two really good friends and they're both platonic. And from my knowledge, it's always been platonic. Like there's never been like them feeling me, like they'll tell me I'm beautiful.
See, that's the key word right there. The key phrase you just said though was like to your knowledge.
To my knowledge.
I feel like there's no, like my opinion. First of all, like when you like being, I don't know how I say this, like when you have friends, like you attract to other people because of like how they are and how they look. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like sometimes.
These were childhood friends though.
Okay.
So that might also be a factor.
That's true. That's a little different. But I just know like as an adult or like teenagers, like that girl's pretty. Like I'm gonna talk to her. Like doesn't mean we're gonna be together. I like her like that.
Yeah.
But she's pretty. Like I can acknowledge that she's pretty.
Yeah.
And then from there, whatever happens, the relationship blooms to a friendship or to more or to less. Like, but I think that two people, for the most part, people talk to people because they're attracted to each other. Like this, like the opposites attract. But I think like when it comes to being a platonic friendship, it's not reciprocated. Just as my opinion. I'd be on the side where I've had females who like as soon as whoever I'm dating messes up, they're like quick to like
switch up
to like want to be with me or like or try me in like vulnerable situations, or it's like I'm upset about me and my shorty, so now they're gonna try it. And I'm thinking like, damn, we've been friends for years. I never thought you looked at me that way.
Yeah.
But because the opportunity presented itself, so I would like be naive to think that. And then as a guy, like I'm a guy, so I already know like how most guys think. Like there's hella girls that like if they gave me the opportunity, I know I would like you know like or wouldn't. So I don't know. I just find it hard for me to like think that, you know, because those two childhood friends you talking about, they could look at you as like sis and like all that stuff. But like if one day you was just like,
yo, let's do this thing. Yeah.
You was just like later, like, you know what? I just want you like us to smash or whatever. Like I don't know too many guys that'd be like, listen, guys, like we can't do this because it'll affect our friendship.
Like deep down,
like, you know what I mean? Like the next day, like we're gonna make a mistake. We shouldn't do this. Like no, most guys are gonna be like, yo, you with it? I'm with it. Let's do it, and then like deal with the repercussions after. But I don't know any two mature guys out there, and it doesn't mean you're not mature or not. But I just think just how we're made up.
How they are.
If a girl throws it at you and it's your friend for 10 years, I've obviously thought about her in that light before.
Yeah, that's why I said I think it's very rare.
I think it's just very difficult.
And that's why when most dudes are like, yeah, she's just my friend, and I look at her and I'm like.
And you know why it's contradicting too? Because we talked about earlier about the different ways you could love somebody. And like, so what if you were childhood friends with someone for a long time, like a decade and a half or something, and then you just like for some reason you start looking at that guy a certain way,
which happens,
and you realize that dang, like we've been best friends our whole life. This is actually somebody I would date. Like,
yeah, that happens.
So
it happens, and I also think like sometimes I think so I've had this conversation with my friends too, like my female friends. It's like, is the only reason she's your friend because she didn't let you smash, or she has you friend zone? Because now I don't want to be friends with a man that another girl friend zone. Like, I don't want someone like that someone else doesn't want. Like, which sounds bad, but it's like, so what if she one day changes her mind? Exactly. You know what I mean? So that's also a conversation. Or I don't know, like there's definitely that, not insecurity, but that thing in the back of my mind when a man's like, yeah, that's my friend. And I'm like, okay, cool, because I know that everyone should have friends. Yeah, of course. But it's like, what boundaries are there? What is the relationship like? Like, is this person, like, is it platonic, you know? And I do think it can be platonic because I do have friendships that are platonic, but I think there's a level of closeness that you can be with someone till that whole conversation can be had. So like, I have friendship with you know, a few guys, but it's like, we don't text all the time. It's just like, yo, what up? You know, we have each other on IG. That's it. Yeah. We don't have really like in-depth convos. We don't call each other. We don't have FaceTime convos. You know, there's no intimacy involved. Okay. You know, that type of friendship I think can definitely be platonic because it's still within like these boundaries, these lines, you know, and I think anyone can do that. But once you cross a certain boundary where like y'all are chilling on the ones, you know, they're meeting the family. So we got the same mindset. That's how I'm thinking too. I'm like, how could you, like, I just know so many people like, nah, I would never look at him like that. Like, I look at him as a brother. But I'm like, all the things you guys do, like what you just said, like chilling on the ones, FaceTime every day. You basically in a relationship, like, just with your friend, like, in a sense. It just creates a blurred line for me. And that's for me, right? Yeah. Like, I just know from experience, and I never want to project it to others, but it's like, that's just what I've seen, is like, that could easily go left, and I don't want to partake in being like observant of that and then being, you know, collateral to that situation. So I respect people. Like, I think everyone should have friends. I think it's healthy for someone to have a friendship or friendships. But if that's like, but a lot of people have best friends that are of the opposite sex too, right? Yeah, so it's possible for sure. It is possible, but like you said, like, I would really need to know like how that friendship was formed, the history behind it. Like, was there any history? You know what I mean? I also want to be friends with them too. Like, if that's your friend, let's all be friends. Like, don't keep them separate. I think that's also a big red flag. Like, if me and this person can be friends, then that automatically makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. So yeah, I don't know. I always ask this question to people, but not to say I know how men think, but by default, most dudes will look at a girl and one of the thoughts is, yeah, I'd smash her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'd hit, sure. You know? So it's usually like, and it's not even like it's not like you're going to do it. It's just part of like, you're just scanning the room. You're just scanning the person and understanding like where to categorize them in your brain, you know? Like, I don't know. I think I'm not a man, so I can't say, but I'm assuming that's kind of like the thought process. And we did talk a little bit about social media, and before we wrap up, I do want to talk about that. And the whole idea of like social media now taking such a big part of dating, relationships, identity, self-confidence, all that. Do you think social media is a good thing or a bad thing for our generation's relationship and their health?
Bad, hands down bad. Yeah. I'm an advocate for it being bad. Like, I just think that it's a pessimistic vibe, man, in our society when it comes to relationships. I respect for what it could do outside of relationships. Like, you know, you could promote brands, businesses. You could, you know, like I say, promote your brands and businesses. You could, I don't know, use it as a place to monetize your image. Like, literally, people are, you know, getting paid to just sponsor, be sponsored by certain products or whatever. It allows you to stay in contact with family. Like, you got family and friends. Like, before, you know, probably telephone on the phone, long distance, expensive. Now you could hop on social media and talk to whoever, no matter how far they are. But in the same breath, I think it's just when it comes to relationships, I think it does more damage than it does good because, yeah, man, I think like social media as a whole in itself, it already like plays with people's insecurities, because I think a lot of men on there think that they're not, they don't value themselves like how they should, because they're comparing themselves to what they see on the gram. So if they see like, I don't know, like whoever's popping on the gram, like the little babies or the Drakes or whatever, like they think, I'm not, like I ain't shit.
It's true.
'Cause, like,
but women
I'm not
too.
dressing like this person.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have the money. Look how he's flexing. Like how Meek is posting all this stuff. I'm not making it. Even though they could have a great job, secure, like all this stuff. And then when it comes to the women, for me, like
So
I always
hard.
go to the Kardashians. I feel like they changed like the way women like operate and look, like just from the whole,
Literally.
the lip fillers to the, if I don't look like this, then I'm not doing it. I'm not beautiful. It's like, no, you need to respect yourself. You are beautiful. You don't need makeup. You don't need Fenty. You don't need like all
But a
this
lot of
stuff that
men
you
want
see.
us
But a
to.
lot of I think that's the image that social media creates, like where it's like,
Yeah.
and again, for men, I know as a man, like I can see from my experience, like this was a long time ago, like years. I remember I had like a IG model girlfriend, like one of my exes, like she was like an IG model, like famous, whatever. And like even though our relationship was hella toxic, like man, people were like man, you guys will make great kids. You guys look like, you look the part, like you look like some red carpet type vibes, type, you know what I'm saying? Because she was like a famous mom, a basketball player, up and coming, and so people would overlook the like, bro, she's doing this, she's doing that. I'm not happy, and my boys are like, Joe, just stick with it, because you got like a 10, like you hit the lottery. This is rare. And I'm like, that's how messed up social media has everybody's heads.
That's what you think a 10 is.
You think because she's this, that, and the third, that like this is what makes you happy, when it's not.
That's
what
goals.
makes you happy. And the same, similar to how I see females on there who like are flexing on the gram with this bag or this watch, but then like they're asking for money, or like they're living in, you know, places that have no furniture, like, and the same thing goes for guys too, like guys that be flexing but they don't have it all together, you know, don't have a car but they flexing like mad stuff. I think social media like perpetuates too many stereotypes, and it also like feeds into people's egos too much. And then relationship wise too, it's like too accessible. Like for me, just personally, I just know it's just too accessible. Like I just know I'm too accessible. Like anybody could just DM me.
Very.
Like
And
whenever.
temptation is heightened too,
It doesn't
right?
matter. Like, and from what I experienced too, social media is like you can have a relationship, but like that don't mean nothing. Like I remember when like one of my relationships before, like if I post my girl, I was getting more girls. Like more girls were like DMing me.
Yo, what is with that?
I thought like, oh, I'm posting her. This is back in the day. This is like Woman Crush Wednesday time too. Like I'm posting girls. I'm thinking like they're gonna stay away. No, it's making it worse. Like they want to break up a happy household. Like, you know,
I don't know why that's a thing.
So I'm like, I don't understand. And the same thing with guys too. But I mean, that's how guys are in life. Period. It's like,
but
you're married,
girls, well, literally,
I'm gonna still holler like, but
I know guys
I'ma
are
still
like,
shoot
yeah,
outside,
bet.
like, yeah.
Oh, I love a
you
challenge.
can't just be friends.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you can't just be friends.
I
Like,
saw my girl literally. Let me find this message because it's so funny. Guys are actually comedians in the DMs. Like I cannot. But yeah, like I really think women can smell when a man has a girl, because it's just like the man will get no girls, and the second he has a girl, it's like, oh, he's booming. I'm like,
change
I'm like, what?
And then to me too, it's like,
So annoying.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't like social media. And then like when I was talking about the whole Woman Crush Wednesday stuff like that, I remember when that was like popping. Like,
Yeah.
The whole Man Crush Mondays, Woman Crush Wednesdays. I remember having a girl in college, university, and she was like, "It's Wednesday. Why you didn't post me?" And it would be a fight. Like, like how is social media where you get your validation from?
It's true.
Like, I didn't post you on Wednesday today because I don't even like posting on the gram, period. I'm a basketball player.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just chilling, living real life. We happy in real life, dating in real life.
Yeah.
Why is it that because I don't post you on Wednesday that like I don't value you the same or think you're beautiful or like whatever the case? Oh, but you like this person's woman because Wednesday. I'm like, Instagram is a function where you like pictures.
Yeah, liking a post is two different things
Post is
too.
whatever. Like it doesn't mean anything. I like what that person was wearing. I know this girl, so I'm gonna just like it because I support her.
Yeah.
She's a homie. Doesn't mean I want her. Like I think social media really changes the way people think mentally. But yeah, that was a big thing for me in the past. The Woman Crush Wednesday, I literally broke up with the girl over that. Because she used to get upset that I wouldn't post her, and I'm like, the more you pressure me to post you, I don't want.
You're never going to do it.
And now I feel like we just doing it for the gram, and that's not real to me. That's not authentic.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
let
the
me
thing.
post you because I haven't seen you in 2 weeks because I've been on the road
Yeah.
at 3 away games and I actually miss you. and I post a picture of you, I don't even gotta tag you, but whatever. At least it like I'm doing it for me and you because I like you and like I love you and I think you're this and that third. I'm not doing it because I expect a reaction out of certain people or expect comments out of certain people. You know?
Yeah, I think to speak on that, the reason why, and it's so backwards, and I actually hate it. The reason why women want to be posted, it's almost like you announcing to the world that you're off the market. You know what I mean? Like, oh, don't talk to me because I have a girl now. It's like, that never stopped no man or woman, first of all. So that's not how it works.
And it's like women in the past, like people in the past need to understand. I always ask a woman, like, how you think it was back in the day with our parents? Like, they wasn't doing that.
Yeah. I think if anything, just move like you have a girl. You don't need to show you have a girl. Just move like you gotta have a girl, you know? Or like,
it's like, man, back in the day, they didn't have social media. So it was like, someone's dating, they dating, they living life. They're not letting anything affect what they got going on. So why do we have to like affect what we have? But I'm starting to not like social media, period.
No.
It's not good for your mental.
It's not good. It's not good for your
mental. I caught myself like a couple of weeks ago. I remember like someone said,
what about curating your timeline and like removing certain things?
Let me get into that too. But so a couple of weeks ago, I was like I forgot what page I was following, but someone said Summer Walker was pregnant.
Yeah.
This was like 3 weeks ago. And like I remember it was being a big debate in the comments. And I remember myself, I was looking in the comments and I caught myself like, I don't even know Summer Walker.
I'm
like,
not.
Why do I care like if she's pregnant or not? You know, why do I care that her and London on the track are back together or not? Like Cardi B and Offset, I don't know these people. They don't know me. Like, I listen to their music, but like the fact that I'm actually like on Instagram, I'm like, damn, they broke up again. Like, damn, they get it. I'm like, that's like the effect that social media has on you. It has you really paying attention to stuff that you don't need to pay attention to. Like, it really be like, even the whole Tory and Meg situation, like none of us were there. So I hate when I'm on the gram and I'm seeing people like chime in.
Having
like,
debates.
You weren't even there. Like, you don't know what happened. Like, all we could do is support either side. We don't know what happened. So I think social media sometimes, like, I know for me, like, sometimes during the season 2, I like just get off of it for a bit. Or like, I'll delete it off my phone. Because I even catch myself in the morning. Like, I'm scrolling the gram like 10 minutes before I even like go shower or use the washroom. It's like, to me, that's crazy. Like,
that is.
Our alarm goes off. I hit the alarm and I'm on the gram. Like, what did I miss? Like, it's like 8 in the morning. Like, but yeah, the other thing I hate about social media too is I think when people are in a relationship and they post each other and then it's like they get into a fight or break up and then they go and like remove their stuff. Like, to me, I think that's the most corniest goofball stuff I ever seen. Like, and you put it back on. Like, I don't like that. That's the whole point of like doing it for the gram for me. It's like, live your truth in reality. Like, first of all, I ain't posting no girl that I haven't been dating for at least a year. That's just me because because of that kind of stuff where it's like, we talked about like impulse and like emotions and stuff before. I could be dating you. We could have like a great date night and then I post you and we're like 3 months in. But this is me on a high, like, man, I had a great time. But that's not how I might feel in like the next month. Like, you never know. But then I'm going to look crazy when in 2 months from that someone sees me and you're not on the page no more. It makes me look like just
I know
out of control. Like,
But isn't that the reality of like your life though too? Like, I always think that too. Like, but that was real because you did date this person for 3 months and then you didn't. But that's human experience, right? So I get both sides because I'm very much the same. Like, at one point, like with my last relationship, I was so paranoid to post my ex. Like, I would post him, but I would post him as Wizard Kelly. Like, no head. Because he was so much taller than me anyway. So it was like, y'all know I have a man, but you won't know who he is. You won't know what he looks like. You just know I have a man. And then eventually, like, he just wasn't in my posts no more, right? But people still bring it up. Like, oh, why don't you post this person anymore? I'm like, well, now I have to explain. And it's like you have to explain it to people. That's weird. Like, if I didn't even post it. Like, so that part is definitely weird. But I also think like I look at it like this: if you're with me, I should be like, just like you don't really think when you're posting your homies or your family members, like that's kind of the space I want to occupy. It's like, it's just so authentic and just organic that you're not thinking like this is a statement. It's like, yo, this is my peoples. You're part of my peoples. I'm just posting like you. You're just there. I'm not going out of my way writing this huge Bible paragraph under. Like, that's a little weird. Like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want the world to know how this like intimate verbal like thing, like they don't need to know that. That's between us. That's a fact. Like, you can post some like, you know, everyone's just chilling, I'm just in the video too, like that is cool with me. But I don't need the whole like you proclaiming your love to
And
Instagram.
that's how crazy social media has like affected our lives. Is that like I've been in situations where I've seen someone like post a significant other or like whatever social media, and they just put like a like a basic statement.
Yeah.
And like people are like, oh, he must not really, because all he posted was like like.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I'm like, what? Because he didn't post it, like you said, proclaim like a big caption, like all this. You don't know what he's doing in real life. He could have.
Yeah,
like,
and that's mad weird. I think that's weird though. Like, why are you telling everyone but the person? Like, that's very weird to me. And usually it's not, like, I don't think it's, you're doing it more for, like, what are people going to think versus how does that person feel? And then two things. How do you feel about someone asking you to unfollow someone that you're following? Like, kind of just like, oh, I don't feel comfortable with you following her.
For me, I don't care. I don't follow the person because I don't look. Like, again, if I wasn't a basketball player and like all this stuff, I promise you I would not be on Instagram right now. Like, I really wouldn't. Like, so for me, I don't view Instagram like that. I look at it as like a business, my brand.
That's how I see it
like,
too.
all that stuff now. Like, I don't even think it's my, like, I don't even put like what I truly like and don't like to do on there. Like, I'm just letting people see what I let them see. It's not even like
I just post and leave. Like, I don't even look at my DMs, nothing. Like, it just be building up.
Like, I'm not posting all this kind of stuff. Like, so for me, it's like for you to ask me to unfollow somebody because you're uncomfortable, like, I'll do it. Like, I don't care. At the end of the day, like, even like, I don't even know. Like, I have 10,000 followers and I'm following 2,445 people. I know for a fact I do not know all 2,445 people that I follow. Yeah. So at that, like, yeah, for me, I look at Instagram like whatever. It's an app.
You're not attached to it.
If a female came to me, significant other, and was like, I'm really uncomfortable with you following this person, like, obviously I'm gonna ask why. Yeah. Understand like where this is coming from, where that energy is coming from, but it's not gonna be a big argument or issue. Now, if you're asking me to unfollow a whole bunch of people, then that's like, all right, we have a problem. But if it's like one person and it's like justifiable, or maybe not justifiable, but like, for me, it doesn't care.
It creates peace of mind for your partner.
Yeah, great. If that's what you want, that's what you want. Like, for me, that's not really settling. That's just me compromising for your happiness. But like, I'm not compromising anything, like, to me. Because at the end of the day, if it's somebody that like I truly care about and don't, it's just a friend, like, I could text that person and be like, hey, like, I'm gonna follow you on the gram, but like, this is why, like, we're still friends though. Like, it's just a gram, like, it doesn't matter. So I'm cool with it.
No, because, well, the reason I bring that up because I had a homie and his girl made him unfollow me, but he was very like, I was sad. Like, he messaged me, he's like, yo, like, I just want to let you know, like, my girl,
so I just said,
like, literally, like, she doesn't feel comfortable. She read our messages, even though our messages, like, there's nothing in it. She just doesn't feel comfortable with it. So I just want to give you respect and let you know that I'm going to unfollow you. And then that was it. Like, yo, the friendship's done. Like, I was like, damn, that's crazy. Like, you've been in his life for like 5 seconds, but all right. But at the same time, I've also been that girl. So
that's also why I was holding back from saying too, whereas like, if a girl also asks me, so I guess it's up in the air, it depends. Because also, if a girl tells me to unfollow a certain female, I'm like, I would feel that way too. I'd be like, yo, you, like, we've been dating for how many months? And I've known this female since elementary school. Like, who are you? But I'm not a woman, but I've grown up in a household with a lot of women. I have a lot of female cousins, a lot of like older women. So like, I'm kind of hip to the game. So I understand that some women might feel threatened. Or like,
it just depends on the context too, right? Like, if I feel like there's disrespect involved, then okay.
Yeah. Because like, when you said you and your boys' messages.
Yo, they were literally so like nothing.
That girl probably just looks at you and is like, sees your page, sees your brand, and is like, damn, like, this is somebody that like could potentially take away my man. Yeah. Like, so I'm just gonna put a stop to it now and just add these measures.
You know what? We do think like that though.
You should.
We do think like that though.
As a female, you could be like offended, but you could also be like, oh, I guess she's threatened. But I know exactly how you feel. Same thing. I've been in situations where, like, you know, guys have like, I have homegirls and guys are like insecure about me being their friend because of like who I am and all this stuff. But it's just like, I don't want to shit girl. Like, we're friends. Yeah. It's platonic, but you know, you can't help it.
But it also kind of goes back to a conversation of like, is it really always truly platonic? Because like, sometimes I do think like in some of these friendships, like, guys do keep girls around as backups. Like, that's a whole other convo. But like, you know, like, guys, like, and it's to the final like question that I have, is like, we're never fully committed. We live in a generation where we're never fully committed. We always have backups. We always have one foot out the door. Like, I really like feel like I'm always I always feel like when I'm in a relationship or I've been in a relationship or talked to a guy, it's like, I know he has girls to fall back on and he keeps them up just in case. And that's like such a like sad thing to accept now.
And that's what I'm about to say. It's like it's reality.
Yeah.
Because it's like, would you, I don't know. As a female, would you put all your eggs in one basket?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
And it was like,
and then when
it
shit
didn't work out, how was that process?
So when it didn't work out, it was like, damn, like I have no one to fall on, but at the same time, is that healthy? Like, do I want to heal by talking to other men? You know what I mean? Like, no. Like, so in a way, it kind of helped me because it was like, yo, if I had all these, like, quote unquote, my roster up right now, like, would that even be helping me? Like, really and truly, no, because I'd be just like avoiding.
One to the net, you wouldn't confront the problem.
Yeah, I wouldn't be confronting the problem. Exactly. And looking at it, I'm like, yo, I really like gave everything, so I have no regrets moving on. You know, it wasn't
that's
like
tough. That's big time.
Yeah. So
that's one of the reasons why I would do that. If I would put all my eggs in one basket and not have any backups, so that if it didn't work, I could be like,
yeah,
it wasn't like I gave you my all.
Everything.
But then it's like, damn, you're gonna feel some type of way if like,
damn, really? Like now I don't even have this plug no more. Like
And yeah, man, I've done that before in the past where I've like cut off mad girls for like a girl I was dating.
Yeah.
And when it didn't work out and I can't like, I try to hit the same girls back up. They're like, nah, bro, like.
But at the same time, I always think of it like if I wasn't with those dudes to start off with, like I knew it wasn't going anywhere. They were just there. So I can,
that's also true.
And it sounds bad, I could just replace that, you know?
People on your roster and you didn't take them serious. We took the dudes serious and they were on your roster and just that for a reason.
Yeah, for a reason. So it's like, yo, like, and it sounds bad, but it's like, there's so many people in the world. Like that can easily be come back.
But so to answer your question, like I personally think that this is my personal opinion. I feel like that you could have multiple soulmates.
Oh, 100%.
So
I agree with that.
For me, that's why I could agree with it that like having backups. I don't think it's a good thing to do because what you said, like you want to be able to give your all, not like it's just common sense. Like you can't be
cheating yourself. I think of an experience. You can't be
focused on one person if you entertaining other people. It's just common sense. Like your focus is not all the way going to be there. You know, it's just anything else in life. Like if you're not getting everything from the experience if you're not fully in it, and you're kind of cheating yourself of seeing the full potential of that experience. You gotta be fully attentive. Like you can't focus on one thing and also be worried about other little things. Yeah, this is also why I feel like before we were talking about having a roster, it's just like it doesn't fulfill you. At this point, it's like now you're responding to a text and you gotta keep up with this person. Did I take that person to the movies? Or like, did I take that person? Like,
yo, that's like, crazy.
Mixing up different experiences, you mixing up different dates. It's like, that's not fulfilling. That's not cool.
That's not.
Like, keep up with like different stuff. So you gotta have one person. I'm not a firm believer in like having one soulmate. I think that, like I said, there's different kinds of love. And like life is not long, but like for mortals, like the fact that you can live to possibly 100 years old.
That's a long time.
Time does go by fast, but at the same time, it's like, being with somebody. Just being with one person throughout that whole duration of like all your growth and evolution and stuff, I just don't think that's possible. I think God sends different people, whether it's bad too. Like I've been in situations with females that were horrible and I hated it and I regretted it and I always like questioned God, like why? Like why do you let those girls?
There's a name for that. It's a karmic relationship. Like you're supposed to go through that lesson with them. Yeah, like I went through and it's like my injury. It's like, damn, why? Like, but there's a reason.
I'm gonna come out on the other side with knowing something different about my body, about my mind, about my preparation and different stuff. I think it's the same thing with that. I don't believe in having backups, but like I do believe if it doesn't work out with somebody, you could go with somebody else and like because you never know. Like,
oh, for sure. And I think you can. End of the day, it always stems from you, and you can make it. Like I always think, like I am the source of love, right? Like I am the source of a healthy relationship. So whatever relationship I'm in, I can make it as healthy and as happy as I am able to. Of course, if that person is able to receive it and reciprocate it. But I also think there's this whole concept of I don't think you necessarily need to end up with quote unquote a soulmate. I think you need to end up with a partner. For sure. Right? For sure. A partner is very different. It's more long term and it's more fulfilling in terms of like it's a partnership. Like I'm not looking for someone that is always going to be highs and lows, but it's like, yo, this is my person. you know, and it's like super soft. Not to compare Jada and Will, like I think their marriage is a little confusing, but I like the idea that
I like the open communication.
that they're very like, yo, this is my person, you know, and it's the end of the day,
anything we go through, that's still my person.
Yeah, so I think that I really like that approach, but end of the day, not everyone's gonna want that type of relationship either. So you have to find someone who kind of values the same things in a partnership, and then that's kind of how it aligns too.
A lot of people can't tolerate that. And I don't know if that's a testament to like how mature and immature people are, but a lot of people can't. Like when now I think about like Will and Jada, I'm just like,
it's a lot.
Stuff they went through, a lot of people like wouldn't, as a man, you wouldn't accept what your woman doing, and as a woman, you wouldn't accept your man doing. Like both of the stuff they went through.
It's so true, and
I give them credit.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it though. Like, and it brings it back to the whole conversation of like knowing what you like, what you don't like, and what you are capable of being okay with. Like some women can stay with a man that's cheated on them.
I'm about to say, like, I think it's like that's why the beauty of life is everything could be different. Like my relationship could be different from your relationship, your significant. Like everybody, there's no like formula to success. Like that's why I hate seeing people are like, this is why we've been married for so long. That may have worked for you, but like times are different.
Everyone's different.
People are different.
Dynamics
so, like,
are
what
different.
Will and Jada went through, that's for them. Like doesn't mean that anybody has to follow that, but doesn't mean nobody else can't
Exactly.
either. So I think it's like one of those tough things. I have a question for you too, like a very deep. Cause I don't know how you feel. Would you date somebody that has kids?
My roommate just asked me this question. Personally, at this place in my life, no.
Yeah.
Just because for so many reasons, but the main reason being that where I'm at in life, I don't think I am able to handle being someone's second. You know, like I want to experience being someone's priority.
Cool.
You know what I mean? But that's me right now. I don't know, when I'm in my 30s, like might be different. But because I'm still 26, turning 27, like I feel like I'm still capable to find a partner who doesn't have children, you know, or is in the same space as me. Because I also think if that person has kids, they're occupying a whole different phase in their life. So are we really going to have the same type of views on the relationship and life itself? Like we're occupying two different phases of life. So I think that also is a reason why. What do you think? What about you?
Selfishly, but just me being selfish, I can't.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a Virgo through and through, and I just want to experience certain things.
Oh my God, of course you're a Virgo.
I just want to experience, like, I'm 26 too, so I'm now at a point where like a lot of women have kids, like, and you know, so it's getting tough. But and I'm sure like a lot of guys like have kids.
Yeah.
But I just know that, I don't. It's like I just want to experience first with that woman. Like I want her to be freaking out with me together about the water breaking or about the classes or about like I don't want her to be like, oh, I know what this is like already.
Yo, I did this already with.
Like, I know how. Oh, this is not a contraction. This is whatever. Like I want her to like be able to freaking out with me so we can experience having a child together for the first time, like together, like first. Because I just know that in my life there's not a lot of firsts that I'm able to experience with women because like I've done so much. I mean, there's still so much I have to do, but I just mean like just little stuff like that. I love like being able to do something with somebody for the first time, both of us. Like to me, I feel there's no experience like that. So that's what I feel. And then like the whole energy of having to entertain like a baby mother's like baby father.
Oh, that's a whole dynamic
you know what
too.
I'm saying? Like that is like something so crazy.
It's a whole dynamic. I don't know.
I don't have kids, so I can't speak on that like that kind of stuff. But I just know from having like cousins and people I know that have kids, like even like if you have a baby, like if I had a baby mother, I know I'd always be like comfortable with her. Like, you know what I'm saying? So how can you trust your partner is not going to go back with that person and do stuff with that person or like use the kids as an excuse to like do certain things?
It just
you can't step over there. You can't be like, no, you can't go there with that.
Because who the hell are you?
Like, you got a kid together, like
yeah, like literally we are family.
Yeah.
Family. So it's
tough.
No, I definitely agree. And like you said, like you just have to know what works for you. Some people like they can do it, and you know, like it depends on the person too and the situation and dynamic. But before we wrap up, we definitely live in a generation where there's situationships. Do you think that the whole dynamic of relationships as a whole, how we see, operate, is going to continue within that direction of situationships, non-monogamy, more polygamy based, I guess? Or do you think we're eventually going to get back to that old like R&B type of love, 90s vibes?
Nah, I think we head in a direction like you said, like not towards monogamy and stuff. Just because like the way technology keeps evolving, and the way like the media, the media that's just being pushed towards us, like it just calls for that. Like if you, the music we listen to is not, you know, like I mean everybody listens to different music. Like I love old school R&B and like neo jazz and soul and like Sade and like music like that. But like when I'm going to clubs or like just music around our age, like all that kind of music is really perpetuating the kind of lifestyle of not being monogamous. So it's like when you see that in the main space, it's gonna be hard for kids to grow up and think like, having just one girl is it. Like when they see these type of music videos, see this type of stuff in music or on movies or in TV or in the history. So like I think it's gonna be difficult moving forward. But that's just my opinion. Like I don't know. And then
I agree.
But then to me, I also think that like having a bond is more important than a title. So like in a sense, like sometimes I don't know. Sometimes situationships work, but then at the same time, I don't think they do.
I don't think long term.
Yeah, no.
They're cute for like a month, 3 months, but then after a while, I feel like if you respect me, because I always say I'd rather you respect me than love me. So if you respect me, then why is the title such a big deal, right? So that's my only thing with that. I think it really comes down to respect and how we want to be respected. But I do agree, like I think everything's very accessible, whether it be through social media, whether it be like OnlyFans, like everything is just super accessible. You know, there's no need for exclusivity because nothing's really exclusive anymore. You know,
whatever you want.
Like everyone has access to you, you know, everyone's for the streets. So it's just like, what's the point, you know? So I think it really comes down to, it really comes down to the individuals. But culturally, I don't think we're going to go back to that monogamy kind of vibe.
Either, which is sad, but I always tell my parents, like, I wish I was like...
Same. I think I wish I was born like in the 70s.
Yeah.
Or grew up in the, like...
I wish I was born like in the early 80s. And
just before, that's what I say a lot of
90s,
times.
early 2000s have like...
Oh, that would have been lovely.
Like been socially hip to what's going on.
Yeah, because I definitely feel like I don't fit in. So to wrap up, I always end with a small joy. So I always ask my guests, like, what is something that has brought you happiness? Especially like, I don't know, with COVID and everything, we're in lockdown now. 2020 has been a ride.
Yeah.
To say the least. What is just something small that's brought you joy this week?
I guess my family.
Oh, that's big,
like,
though.
It's big, but just, you know, experiencing this injury, it's like usually before this, like I was always on the road. Like I'd probably be overseas right now. Or I'm always working out. Like me seeing my family is like, as a professional athlete, is very difficult. My birthday was in September this past year. And because of COVID, there was no like nothing going on, no seasons or anything. So it was my first time being able to celebrate my birthday with my mother in like 7 or 8 years, something like that. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, stuff like that, just like, or my brother, like, he plays ball, too, at University of Minnesota, so he's barely around, too. So, like, he was able, because of COVID, he was able to be there. So, like, us three just celebrating, like, my birthday or a holiday together for the first time in, like, forever, like,
that's big.
Means a lot to me, having my baby sisters at my house. Like, I didn't get to, like, when both of them were born, I was in the University of South Carolina. So, like, I was at school. And I only came back for 1 month out of the whole year for my 4 years of school there because, like, basketball's an all-year sport. You're training if you're not in season, and then like they want you in summer school so you could like accelerate classes so you could play. So I never really like. I remember one time coming back home and like my sister was like 4 and 2, and like my 2-year-old was like crying. Like I try to play with her and she's crying because she don't even like really know who I am like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we FaceTime. Yeah, I try and talk on the phone, but she don't know like
that bond isn't there.
That bond isn't there. Like that's my older brother. But now it's like, all right, like she takes pride in me being like her older brother and like knows who I am and understands why like I leave and come back. Like basketball's my job. I work out, like stuff like that. So just having that time to like spend time with family and experience stuff that I haven't experienced with them before because of basketball has been like a small joy for me that I just noticed. But
that's cute.
Yeah. And then just having, like, because of COVID, you just get more time to, like, read, like, more time to work on your mental, like I was talking about. Like, I learned so much about myself mentally, like, this past couple of weeks and months that it's, like, been insane. Like, I've, like, had so much growth. It's crazy. Like, I'm able to, like, realize, like, triggers, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I just figured out, like, a trigger the other day that was, like, crazy, like, when it comes to basketball. It's, like, because as a basketball player, it's, like, my whole life, I've been playing basketball since I was like 3 years old. Space Jam came out in '96. I was born in '94. I was 2 when it came out. My dad bought me a Fisher-Price net.
Oh my God, I had one
I
too.
was trying to dunk like Michael Jordan ever since then, and Bugs Bunny, and then Vince Carter just being a part of the Raptors, like making basketball kind of like a global sport. I mean, bringing basketball to Canada, kind of making it more popular. But the point is just working out, missing parties, missing proms, missing like. That's why I don't really have like a large group of friends. Like I went to a private school, then I went to the States for basketball. So like, it's just like my life was just very different. And then so like all you know is basketball. Like you train for basketball, you prepare for basketball, and then like play professionally, and then play university and all this stuff. Like anyway, so it's my first time not playing basketball, like having basketball taken away from me. Because usually if I'm not March Madness with university, I'm Team Canada. If not with them, I'm playing like, you know? It's my first time having no basketball responsibility. Like waking up and I don't have to like go to practice. I don't have to go.
That's different though.
So it's different. And then I realized that because the other day I was just like very irritable. Like I was just like in a rut, down, like wasn't the same. And I was so confused. Like I was asked, like I was like trying to like ask myself like what's going on. And I realized is that like, because I rely so much on basketball and gave so much to the sport, that whenever I was stressed out because of relationships, stressed out because of family, annoyed because of school, like frustrated in life, like I know if I went on the court to practice, train, or play in a game in front of a whole bunch of fans or play, like all that goes away because nothing in the world matters except for basketball. And I believe in my talents and my skills, so I know nothing could affect me. So even if the coach is like bitching at me or like the fans are talking trash, if I'm at a different like arena, like nothing will affect my joy. So I'm like, I'm playing basketball. Like I love this, the kids game, and I'm getting paid to do it now. Like, you know, but because I don't have that no more, it's like I don't have that like outlet to like mentally just release. So like, I just realized that like that one. It's crazy how my whole life I relied on basketball so much to the point where like it became a stress reliever, but now I don't have that same. So I have to like look at other aspects and learn more about myself to like what else do I like to do?
Other ways,
that where I can like mentally release.
I love that.
That was the biggest thing I just learned. I thought that was crazy to me.
That's big though, because right before we started, someone was asking like, how do you know that you're going through something, like whether it's mental health issues and stuff. And it's like really and truly like there's no right answer. It's just really sitting down with yourself and having those questions and identifying and then pinpointing. And that's what therapy is. So the fact that you can even do that by yourself is huge. What's one thing that you found helped you, like another release? Like
like I really enjoy like reading now. Like literally just get a glass of wine, just read. I never read.
That's super. That's a vibe.
Because it was like
had to
like an assignment or something, you know. But now I'm like casually reading and stuff.
No, that's so.
But yeah, just like trying to like do different stuff like that, or just like get more in tune with my energy. Lighting sage, like doing.
Oh, I love that.
Stuff like that. You know, trying to find different habits to like. Because like I said, I have so much time on my hands right now. Like writing, like I've been writing, and that's like been a lot for me too. Like, by means no poet, no rapper, no nothing, but for me just like get my ideas down, like even like when I leave here today I'll write like down that like I came on this show and
I love that.
spoke about what I spoke about, and it, like for me that just like gives me some type of euphoric feeling that, like,
that's why I do this, because sometimes it's almost like a recorded diary, because sometimes I'll be speaking and then I'll listen back and I'll be like, damn, I said that.
Exactly.
That's crazy. I'm smart.
So it's really a process. It's challenging, but it's like that's the whole point. I think it's cool to like
I love that.
Embrace the process, you know.
I love that so much, especially just because there's so many excuses to kind of go the opposite way and just be a victim to circumstances, but for people to, or for anyone to just face and be like, yo, this is an opportunity to become better, I think you're already winning by approaching it like that. That's a good question
too, about like when do you know you're in a mental like kind of rut too.
Yeah.
Because for me, I think like it's when the days started blurring together. Like when I started realizing that like, because as a basketball player too, we're so structured. We have so much structure. Like, you know, whether in university, whether you're a professional, it's like practice every day. Usually it's at this time, and then there's a lot of free time for sure. But like it's so structured.
It's very routine.
Very routine.
Yeah.
So now that I don't have like that, and to me it wasn't mundane. Like it's still because I'm excited about doing it.
No, it's yeah.
But like it's very routine. But now that I don't have a routine, and it's like I do have rehab and like physio and like, but it's still so more so like I'm predicated on me and my my recovery.
Yeah.
Like that's when I started realizing like, man, this ain't it. Like I'm waking up every day at this time. Like it's not the same. Like, and that's how I was able to like start. And then like the way I was interacting with people, I like, to me, I know like I'm already an introverted person. Unless I know you, then I'm like more comfortable and could talk a lot. But for the most part, I'm like quiet.
That's me.
And then when I came off a little like certain type of way to certain people, I was like, something's not right. Like,
yeah,
me. Like, why am I not feeling it?
That's good.
You know?
I think being being self-aware is probably the first step. And a lot of people aren't, which is crazy to say, but I think hopefully with COVID and this time off, like you really do sit not only with your feelings, but identify them, you know, be more analytical and all that. So where can we find you? If we want to continue this convo, if you want to tune in to the Take Notice show.
Yeah, YouTube. Take Notice usually on YouTube, usually on Thursdays. It's pretty good. Get my athlete, famous friends to talk on there about a variety of situations, whether it's women or men. Same with the coaches and stuff.
So similar combos to kind of what we've been.
It's like sort of more predicated on like their journeys and then like socially current stuff that's happening in sports and in the world. But it's just a platform for athletes. It's sort of like this, but like I haven't really talked about like we got into depth about stuff. I haven't really gone into depth with them. I've more so got like if I talk to one of my friends and they have a kid, it's like how do you balance being a father?
You're holding space for them,
like, stuff like that, giving them an opportunity to like kind of explain how they do stuff. But this is why I like being on this kind of show because like in that space, it's like everyone's like that's what we're talking about, social media. Everybody expects this from my show. Like they look at me and they're like, he's gonna talk about this, talk about that. And because social media put me in my profession has put me in a box. It's like if I was to talk about everything we just talked about on my show, like I know fans would either be talking trash or some fans would be like, "What? Like, he said that? Like that's how he thinks?" Like so. But anyways, my show is just it's allowing athletes to kind of speak freely because like the media always takes our words and twists it. So for me to be able to like interview my friends and have like regular dialogue conversation and talk about a whole bunch of stuff is pretty cool. But it's on YouTube and it's just under Duane Take Notice under my YouTube channel, and then I'm on Instagram and Twitter. I think my Instagram is DUU Notice, just do notice.
But don't bother him because he doesn't like IG. So you won't even follow back. But thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely could have continued this convo. I was like, yo, there's so much more we could have talked about, but definitely gems. So I appreciate you being here always.
Thank you.
We always have good convos. And for anyone else who wants to follow the podcast, y'all can follow me at Call Me Crazy Pod or at Be For Real. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye.